I never thought I'd cry on live TV. But this changed everything. Steve Harvey's fingers tightened around the small gold cross dangling from his neck, his knuckles turning white from the pressure. The usually unshakable host, known for his quick wit and booming laughter, sat completely still in his chair, his famous grin wiped clean from his face. The studio audience, normally buzzing with energy and anticipation, had fallen into an eerie, breathless silence. No one could have predicted this seismic shift in atmosphere when Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary in U.S. history, first walked onto the set just minutes earlier. The plan had been simple, a standard celebrity-style interview with political flair. They'd discuss her rapid rise in Washington, share a few light-hearted behind-the-scenes stories from the West Wing, maybe trade some playful jabs about generational differences in leadership. But the moment Karoline's piercing blue eyes locked onto the glimmering cross resting against Steve's crisp dress shirt, the entire trajectory of the show veered sharply off course. Her posture stiffened, her breathing shallowed. And then, in a voice so quiet the microphone barely picked it up, she uttered the words that would leave America speechless. "Steve, I need to tell you something. You don't know this, but you saved my life." The confession hit Steve like a physical blow. His question cards slipped from his grasp, fluttering to the floor unnoticed. His mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. How could this be possible? He was just a TV personality, a comedian who told jokes for a living. What life-altering impact could he possibly have had on this brilliant young woman shaping national policy? And why would she choose this moment, under the blinding studio lights with millions watching, to reveal something so deeply personal? As Karoline began unpacking her story, layer by vulnerable layer, it became painfully clear. This wasn't just a thank you. This was a soul-bearing testimony that would leave Steve Harvey, the man who built his career on never showing weakness, weeping openly on national television. I was ready to walk away from everything, until one late-night broadcast changed my path forever. The Karoline Leavitt America saw now, poised, articulate, commanding respect in the White House briefing room, wasn't born overnight. 2 years. Before this fateful interview, she had been curled into a ball on the floor of her childhood bedroom, choking back sobs as political pundits on every news channel dissected her humiliating congressional defeat. The loss itself had been devastating enough, but the media's relentless commentary cut deeper. Amateur hour. Clearly out of her depth. Proof that millennials aren't ready for real leadership. Each headline, each snide remark from talking heads, each condescending op-ed felt like another brick in the wall sealing her political coffin. For 3 agonizing days, she didn't leave her room. Didn't answer calls. Couldn't bear to face her parents, who had mortgaged their home to fund her campaign. The dream she'd nurtured since college, of representing her community, of making tangible change, lay in ruins at her feet. What was the point of getting back up when the entire system seemed designed to keep people like her down? Then, at 2:37 a.m. on the 4th night, sleep still evading her, she aimlessly clicked the remote. The screen flickered to life, showing a Steve Harvey rerun. Not his usual comedy bits, but a rare, raw monologue about his own failures before fame. His voice filled the dark room. "I slept in my car for 3 years, got told no more times than I can count. But here's what I learned. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the recipe." His fingers brushed the cross around his neck. "If you're still breathing, God's not done with you." Something inside Karoline shifted. The tears kept coming, but now they carried a different weight, not of despair, but of dawning realization. This wasn't the end of her story. "You were my lifeline, Steve, and now I'm passing that rope to others." Back in the present moment on the Steve Harvey show stage, Karoline watched as the color drained from the host's face. His usual confident swagger had vanished, replaced by something far more vulnerable. He genuinely hadn't known, had no inkling that his words, spoken during some forgotten late-night taping, had thrown a lifeline to a drowning woman 1,200 miles away. That those words would ultimately propel her to dust herself off, return to Washington, and make history as the youngest person ever to hold the White House press secretary position. Steve's hands shook visibly as he tried to process this revelation. Wait, you're telling me that something I said, some throwaway line from an old show actually, mattered? His voice cracked on the last word, the weight of responsibility settling heavily on his shoulders. Karoline leaned forward, her own eyes glistening. Not just mattered, Steve. It rewired my entire perspective. That night I made a promise to myself. If I ever got another chance, I wouldn't just rebuild my career. I'd create pathways for other young people who've been counted out. She paused, letting the gravity of her next words sink in. That's why I'm launching the Next Generation Opportunity Initiative next month. It's a federal program to mentor and fund first-time candidates under 30, kids from working-class backgrounds who don't have political connections. And Steve, the seed for all of this was planted by you. A single tear rolled down Steve's cheek. The audience, now openly weeping, erupted into thunderous applause. Not the usual studio audience-forced reaction, but a visceral, emotional outburst. This wasn't just a feel-good moment anymore. It was proof that one person's words could alter the course of countless lives. The moment America saw Steve Harvey's armor crack, and what it revealed about all of us. What happened next would be replayed millions of times across social media. Steve Harvey, the man who built his brand on unflappable confidence, completely broke down on camera. His broad shoulders shook with silent sobs as he stood up on unsteady legs and crossed the stage. When he wrapped Karoline in a bear hug, holding, unlike she was the only solid thing in a spinning world, the studio audience lost all composure. Grown men wiped their eyes with suit sleeves. Women hugged strangers in adjacent seats. Even the camera operators, usually invisible and silent, could be heard sniffling behind their equipment. When Steve finally pulled back, his face was a mess of tears, his voice barely above a whisper. I wear this cross every single day. His fingers trembled as they touched the pendant. But today, Karoline, you made me understand what it really means. It's not just jewelry. It's a reminder that we're all connected in ways we can't even imagine. The raw honesty of that admission hung in the air like sacred smoke. This wasn't television anymore. This was a living testament to the invisible threads that bind human lives together across time and distance. Could you be someone's unknowing lifeline? The answer might surprise you. As the interview wound to its emotional close, Steve and Karoline stood shoulder to shoulder facing the audience, no longer host and guest, but kindred spirits united by a profound truth. Every word we speak carries weight. Every moment of vulnerability has ripple effects we may never witness. And sometimes, the person who feels the most insignificant holds the exact key someone else needs to survive their darkest hour. So here's the question that lingers long after the cameras stop rolling. How many potential Karoline Leavitts are sitting in their own dark rooms right now, just one encouraging word away from changing their trajectory? How many future leaders, innovators, and world changers are on the brink of giving up because they haven't yet stumbled upon their version of Steve Harvey's 2:37 a.m. broadcast? And here's the real kicker. Could you unknowingly be that lifeline for someone without even realizing it? Drop a comment below. Has someone's unexpected words ever pulled you back from the edge? And if this story resonated with you, hit subscribe because, in a world that often feels fractured, we could all use more reminders of our invisible connections. Watch the full, unfiltered, unscripted moment that broke the internet.